Mm, okay, looks like I am live. How's everybody today? Lisa Marie here. Um, it seems to me that I am froze. Okay. Oh, no. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what happened here. Let me go out and come back in, maybe. That's weird. No, it says I'm live, so I'm just gonna go. My bad. Okay, we are here with chapter 9. I don't know what's going on my computer, but I don't see me. I see nothing. I am just going to read because I see on my phone I'm there. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know if you cannot. And chapter 9 is how to use the will. This chapter gets me fired up. So it'll be interesting to see how I end this out. But I'm going to read first, and then I'm going to give you um, my interpretation or my feelings about it. So sit back, enjoy. All right. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not have to try to apply your willpower to anything outside of yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do what you wish done. It is flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. If compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery, compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by force, by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery as well. There is no difference in the principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his own good, for you do not know what is good for him. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. That would simply be like trying to coerce God and would be foolish and useless as well as irreverent. You do not have to compel God to give you good things any more than you have to use your willpower to make the sun rise. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer any unfriendly deity or to make stubborn and rebellious forces do your bidding. It's like putting stuff out into the universe. Oh, I hope he gets sick and die or something. You would never say that, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. You do not have to use your willpower to oh, I already read that, sorry. Substance is friendly to you and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use your willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is the legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in that certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space and act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than anywhere else. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose. And use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The steadier and more continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich because you will make only positive impressions upon substance, and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The picture of your desires held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless and permeates it to great distance throughout the universe for all I know. I need a drink. Sorry, I'm dry. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving toward its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred in that direction. All things begin to move toward you. The minds of people everywhere are influenced toward doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one toward you. It is by not understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science in getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubts and fears, every hour or unbelief, it sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe and unto them only. Notice how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief. And now you know the reason why. Since belief is all important, it behooves you to guard your thoughts. And as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about. And it is important that you should command your attention. Since belief is all important, I read that again. I'm so sorry. And here the will comes into use. For it is by your will that you determine upon what things your attention shall be fixed on. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking about their opposites. Health is never to be obtained by studying disease and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not to be promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. And no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. Medicine, as a science of disease, has increased disease. Religion is a science of sin, has promoted sin. And economics, as a study of poverty, will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty, do not investigate it, or even concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. Do not spend your time in charitable work. I had a rough time reading this, but hear it out. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetuate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of need, but you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich. That is the best way to help the poor. And you cannot hold the mental image, which is to make you rich, if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers, of the horrors of child labor, and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. What tends to do away with poverty is not the getting of pictures of poverty into your mind, but getting pictures of wealth into the minds of the poor. You are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your mind to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with, not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but by increasing the number of poor people whose purpose with faith is to get rich. And I think that inspire people to want more for themselves and just don't even go back to thinking, because pictures do form in your mind, right? And thoughts become things. So that is the last thing that you want to do. The poor do not need charity. They need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them that they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teachings of this book. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not by competition. Every man who becomes rich by competition throws down behind him the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by creation opens a way for thousands to follow him and inspires them to do so. You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty. See poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. Wow, this chapter definitely gets me fired up for a couple of reasons. So, my righteousness definitely kicks in every time I read this chapter. And it's because other people are forcing their will onto me, whether it's by telling me what they think I should do or what I should say or how I should think, or you should do things this way. I'm like, so can I not think for myself? How does anyone else know what's best for me? Are they walking in my shoes? Are they living my life? Are they paying my bills? What is God's will for me? That is the only thing that I need to be concerned with. You know, in our inner circle, we talked about this. We went through this every single chapter. It's a mastermind. It's phenomenal. And if anybody wants that playlist, I mean, we had some remarkable people in this inner circle group that we talked about each chapter explicitly. And I'm telling you, it was eye-opening. And I got to tell you, we are free to choose whatever we want to do. Nobody else has the right to do that for us. And I keep thinking back to something John Tier said, and it was in a book that he read, but I believe it is in the Bible as well, because I have heard this before, and it is, lean not on your own understanding. Lean not on your own understanding. By that, I think it tells us that we need to, how do you know that? Like, Robert always says, how do you know that? And if you don't know that to be a fact, I suggest you get into IA or Google or the Bible or this book and find out the facts. Seriously, believing what other people tell us is nonsense. You need to know that for sure yourself. So we have knowledge at our fingertips every single day. So there is no excuse to believe anything that other people tell you, because we all have our own way of thinking, and we don't even know if that's true or not, because of the way that we were raised, and our parents' thoughts become our thoughts. We have the right to think and feel any way that we choose to. Nobody else can tell you that. Unless you are in the Bible and talking to God, you want to do what God wants us to do. God wants everything for us. He believes the whole world is full of abundance. The people that are in poverty, they are not thinking in the way that they should be thinking. I'm going to give you an example. People reach out to me all the time for money or whatever. It really gets old. But one time it was an orphanage, and of course my heart goes out to them. However, sending them $100 or $20, whatever, sending them money does not get them out of poverty. As it said in that chapter, it just subsides them, gives them a little gratitude until tomorrow. And that does no good. So you know what I did instead? I sent him a copy of this book. And I says, read a chapter to the children every single day. Read a chapter to them. And of course, you're reading it for yourself too. So that is what I did in that situation. So it's just like that thing they say, you know, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to fish, he can feed his family for life. Okay. Let's see, there's some more I wanted to talk about here. That's about it, I guess. We have to work our will for us. And in this book, they're not talking about what your prized possessions, what you want to leave to people when you're dead and gone. The will is your willpower and other people's will onto you. I argue with my husband on this subject a lot, and I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I love my husband with all my heart, but for 30 years of our marriage, I listened to everything that he said. And he has no right to do that to me. He has no right to tell me what I can do, what I can't do, what I should say, what I shouldn't say, how I should act. What the hell? Are you kidding me? And I'll tell you, it's been a little rocky road since I started standing up for myself. And that's my fault. That's not him. He doesn't know any better. That's what he was taught. So stand up for yourself and know that you can do things your way, God's way or your way, not what everybody else tells you. Okay. That's about all I got. So I know my days are a little messed up doing the Science of Getting Rich. That's because I had my big interview on Tuesday with Robert Hollis. If you did not see that, you got to check it out. It was amazing. I felt so, so good doing that with him, and he made me feel so comfortable. It was amazing. So, all right, that's all I got for you. Inner Circle time and a half hour. I'm out of here. Bye, guys.